Most people panic at that thought. But for philosophers and mystics, this is where truth begins. Alan Watts once said, "Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. The self is not an object to grasp. It's the open sky behind the clouds, the silence between your thoughts, the awareness watching the drama unfold." This isn't about erasing identity. It's about loosening your grip on it. Because when you stop clinging to a rigid version of yourself, you become fluid, adaptable, free. You no longer fear change, you are change. You no longer defend your ego, you witness it. You're not just the character in the story, you are also the reader, the page, the silence between the lines. The self isn't something you have, it's something you perform. And when you let go of the performance, you don't vanish. You return to something deeper, quieter, more real than any identity could ever describe. You return to the awareness that was always watching patiently behind the curtain. And in that return, something paradoxical happens. You stop trying to become someone and start simply being, not as a role or a goal or a name, but as presence itself. The self you've been chasing was never ahead of you. It was the stillness behind you all along. And maybe that stillness, that awareness, has no opinion about your success or failure. It doesn't measure your worth by followers, resumes, or resumes of the soul. It simply observes, patiently, without judgment. That's why so many spiritual traditions emphasize stillness, silence, solitude, not to escape the world, but to remember what you are beneath the noise. You're not lost in the chaos. You are the space that holds it. When you sit with yourself long enough, without distractions, without roles to play, you begin to feel it. A strange kind of peace. A center you forgot was there. And maybe that center isn't something you reach. Maybe it's something you remember. Because the truth is, you don't have to become anything. You just have to stop running from what you already are. A presence, a witness, not the storm, but the sky that holds it. The lie of the self isn't that you're nobody. It's that you ever needed to be somebody to begin with. You think you know who you are. A name, a story, a personality, a solid self. But what if I told you that you don't actually exist? At least not in the way you believe. Let's explore what ancient philosophy, modern psychology, and Eastern mysticism say about the illusion of the self, and why clinging to it might be the very source of your suffering. From the moment you're born, you're given labels. Boy or girl, good or bad, smart, stubborn, sensitive. You build a personality around expectations, parents, society, school, culture, but underneath it all, who are you? The ancient Buddhists called the self an illusion, Anatta. Not because nothing exists, but because what we call the self is just a bundle of thoughts, memories, and habits. There is no fixed you, only a process, and yet we cling to the mask, terrified of what lies beneath it. In Western philosophy, we often begin with René Descartes. I think, therefore I am. But what if the thinker is not a stable entity, just a voice narrating your experience? Modern neuroscience supports this. There's no single self center in the brain. Your identity is more like a stream, always moving, always changing. So maybe it's not I think, therefore I am, but thoughts arise and I watch. Carl Jung believed we all carry a hidden side, the parts of ourselves we deny or repress. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The self you present to the world, the persona, is only a fraction of your total being. The real you includes the fears, desires, and contradictions buried deep below the surface. True growth, Jung said, comes from confronting the shadow, not escaping it. So if your identity is curated, convenient, or comfortable, is it really you? In Hinduism and Advaita Vedanta, the ego the small self, is the veil that separates us from reality. This ego clings to identity, memory, possession, status. But the sages said, "You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are the awareness behind both." This is liberation, when you stop identifying with the roles you play and realize you were never the mask. You were the actor behind it all. Strip away your name, your past, your job, your preferences. What remains?
If this made you pause, if you're drawn to deeper truths and quiet strength, then you're in the right place. Like, subscribe, and keep exploring with us. See you in the next one.